2 years ago, aliens invaded Earth in search of a new home because their planet was in ruins. They captured humans as slaves and started to build very dangerous weapons. In Australia, a group of survivors fought back and freed their families from slavery. They also stole the aliens' bioweapon with the help of the military. That day they befriended a few aliens, who agreed to help humans fight against their bosses in exchange for a place to stay. In the present, Sydney has been recaptured by aliens and the Australian team is trying to take it back. There are explosions everywhere thanks to the alien forces covering both ground and air at the same time with troops on foot and aircraft dropping bombs. The soldiers have been holding this position for a few days, but it's clear that they're losing more and more squads by the second. Meanwhile, in the alien colony on Western Sydney, a team of survivors led by Matt is going through the sewers to break into the big alien ship, thanks to secret intel shared by an alien ally. When they confirm they're in, the military sends out their jets, which open fire on the alien ship as a distraction. The aliens immediately send out more aircraft to engage in air combat. Matt's team goes inside the ship and a few aliens that were pretending to be guards open fire on their comrades because they're on the human side. While the aliens shoot at each other, Matt and his men find a cage and deactivate it to save a bunch of human prisoners. The team immediately takes the prisoners away, but Matt stays when he notices 3 alien kids as well. After some hesitation, he decides not to shoot them and goes back to the fight. As he shoots more enemies, Matt makes his way into the control room, unaware that the jets are sending warnings about an incoming attack. While he looks at all the files in the computer, a big alien commander shows up and kills one of the soldiers. The team works together to attack at the same time, but the alien is so strong that he brings them all down in seconds. However, this was a distraction to put a grenade inside the alien's armor, which quickly kills the creature when it explodes. Matt takes his helmet and leaves the ship with the team and the prisoners just in time for the jets to blow the entire structure up. Meanwhile, Amelia, Abraham, and an alien ally called Gary are sneaking around the ruins. They lower their guns when they find a kid, but Gary takes her headband and destroys it because it's an alien camera. It turns out the girl agreed to spy in exchange for food, and now she's so scared that she runs away. The trio keeps going and secretly meets with a group of aliens that want to join the humans too. Since they don't have any supplies to offer, they share some intel. The protectors of the alien elders known as Kali are coming. There's also talk about something called rainfall. Afterward, they return to the Resistance headquarters located in the Sydney Underground. Matt brings the helmet and Gary wants to inspect it closely, but Matt only gives it to him after some mocking. A meeting is held to discuss the situation and they learn the armies in Europe and USA aren't doing well, even their nuclear weapons have failed. Since they'll lose Sydney soon, Commander Hayes thinks they should evacuate. Abraham complains, pointing out that they still find civilians in need of rescue. However, Hayes explains it's become rare to find survivors nowadays and they can't risk losing their armies for 1 or 2 lost people, so Abraham agrees to evacuate. Then Amelia shares that for the past few weeks, several sources have mentioned an event called rainfall, which has been confirmed by the data Matt brought from the main computer. In fact, it's the only human word in it. Captain Wessex remembers that rainfall was the code name for Pine Gap, an American base in Central Australia that has stories similar to Area 51. Gary explains the helmet belongs to the Kali, an elite warrior force that protects the alien elders. They rarely take part in wars, so if they are here, then aliens must be planning something big. Ignoring Hayes' protests, Abraham sends Matt and Gary to investigate. Since Pine Gap is in the middle of the desert, Gary convinces Matt to ride some alien animals called Vox, which will be hidden in a van until they find an opening on the road. At the same time, the evacuation starts. All the civilians are put in any available vehicle with armed soldiers for protection, and the pilots leave in the jets for extra backup. As soon as they open the gates, the aliens open fire with their aircraft and the civilians panic inside the buses. The jets fight back as soon as possible, bringing down many enemies but also losing some allies in the process. The soldiers in the cars also open fire, shooting down alien aircraft that crash against the abandoned buildings. In the van with the Voxes, Gary and Matt are also firing at the aliens, but they're surprised when they discover that Amelia's brother Marcus has sneaked into the van. Matt wants him gone, but Gary says they could do with some help. Soon the back of one of the buses catches on fire and the civilians have to huddle at the front while the soldiers run to protect the resulting hole on the back. The jets are being chased away from the road by the alien aircraft, but the pilots manage to fly back just in time to destroy a few enemies before they could shoot down the buses. Then the aliens' ground forces attack the Resistance headquarters, where some soldiers are still finishing the evacuation. A gunfight ensues, so they guide the remaining civilians through a tunnel to board some trucks. Hayes sent orders for the humans to go first and the aliens to wait, which Amelia doesn't agree on. Suddenly an explosion makes the tunnel shake and the ceiling starts crumbling before a second explosion at the entrance announces the arrival of the aliens. The fight continues while the soldiers try their best to protect the running civilians with open fire. To make matters worse, they receive a message from some soldiers on the field with bad news. The alien colony ship is dropping a bomb on the city. Amelia uses the chaos to get the alien allies in the trucks as well before joining the soldiers at the entrance. Once Abraham jumps in too, the trucks finally leave and manage to escape right before the bomb hits Sydney, absolutely decimating it. Once the convoy reaches the countryside, Matt, Marcus, and Gary leave on the Voxes. During their journey, they see lots of fallen ships and alien structures. The rest of the vehicles make it to a military base in the Blue Mountains, where all the alien allies are separated from the humans for verification. Hayes is in charge of this base and he gives Amelia's group a tour. The base is a military research complex from the 50s that used to house classified projects until it was fortified for war. There are medical bays, hydroelectric power, and even a whole fleet of jets. Hayes also reveals that they've been using alien technology to upgrade the humans' planes, hoping for a more fair fight. Meanwhile, Matt's group discovers a bunch of humans running through a field while the alien aircraft chase them and open fire to kill them. Marcus wants to help them, but they don't have the means to. They notice the guards have a flying car, so Gary goes to talk to them. Once the guards are distracted, Matt opens fire and Gary joins him, quickly bringing down those guards. Then Gary activates the car system and Marcus gets on the cannon to start shooting down the aircraft. There are dangerous collie soldiers coming, so Gary takes off and Matt thinks he's been abandoned, but the enemy car flies above him and he manages to hold on to it. The aircraft soon join the chase and even land a shot on Gary's car, but it doesn't cause any damage. While Marcus continues to shoot them and make them crash, the other car catches up and starts hitting Gary's, who speeds up to try to lose it. The alien on the other car is also firing at them, so Matt climbs on top of it to fight the creature. They exchange a few hits and the alien almost pushes Matt off the car, but at that moment he manages to open the top hatch. The driver closes it again to send him back. At the same time, Marcus shoots the alien at the cannon, buying Matt some time. The fight continues and the alien puts an explosive on Matt's chest, but he just opens the hatch again and throws the explosive at the driver. Then he jumps off the car right before it blows up. Unfortunately, the alien survives the crash and comes back to keep on fighting Matt. The creature grabs his face and tries to push it toward the car's thrusters, but at that moment the Vox comes running and knocks the alien down before eating him. Matt is picked up by Marcus and Gary, who shares that the aliens here were also looking for rainfall. At the base, Amelia and Dennis realize they haven't seen the friendly aliens for days, so they ask Dennis' pilot girlfriend Robin about it. However, she defends Hayes' protocol and says not everyone is fighting for peace. After she leaves, Dennis reveals he stole her security pass. He distracts the guards and Amelia sneaks into the restricted area. She finds a huge lab and inside a tent, there's the bioweapon that Matt took 2 years ago. Amelia tells Dennis what she's found through the radio, but then she has to run because the tent is starting to fill with gas. She runs through a plastic tunnel and goes down a slide that drops her in a corridor, where she discovers all the aliens and Voxes are in cells being tortured or experimented on. Many of them are barely alive or already dead. Amelia tries to open the doors to save them, but she's quickly surrounded by Hayes' men and captured. Back to Matt's group, they set up camp with the Voxes, and Matt continues to disapprove of the aliens' company. Suddenly they hear a roar in the distance and Gary recognizes it as a Xylek, a huge predator that likes to eat Voxes. The Xylek comes down the mountain and the trio quickly opens fire. Unfortunately, their weapons don't do anything against the monster's thick hide and it starts making its way toward the Voxes. Matt tries running toward them to help, but the car blows up and he's thrown back. The explosion was caused by 2 collie warriors, who Gary starts fighting. He shoots one with his alien pistol, but the second one disarms him with a sword while demanding to know Rainfall's location. Gary reveals he also has a sword and both aliens start fighting by clashing their blades. Gary is a good warrior, but not enough to stop his opponent from overpowering him. Meanwhile, Marcus continues to shoot at the Xylek while the Voxes also attack it. Unfortunately, the beast quickly brings a Vox down and knocks Marcus out. When the Xylek is about to eat Marcus too, Matt starts firing at it but his gun runs out of power. The Xylek gets ready to eat him until an explosion hits it and instantly kills it. The collie warrior is distracted by this, so Gary uses the chance to kill it. A light appears nearby and Matt gets ready to shoot, but it turns out to be Peter and his daughter Bella. After their escape 2 years ago, they split from the fighting team and settled down in a hidden village near the mountains with other survivors. The trio is taken to this village and the locals are very scared of Gary. Thankfully, Marcus wakes up with no serious injuries. Gary shares that he's heard about Peter bashing an alien prisoner's head 2 years ago and Peter explains he isn't proud of what he did. Soon the villagers gather outside Peter's house asking for Gary's head. Peter refuses to give Gary over while Marcus runs to get between the Voxes and the angry crowd. The villagers get ready to burst into Peter's house by force, but Gary comes out and says they can try to have their revenge. A fight ensues and Peter even jumps in to help Gary, but it's 2 people versus a big crowd, so they're in a clear disadvantage. The locals hold Peter back while they beat up Gary until Matt shoots his gun in the air to make them back off. After the villagers leave, Peter and Bella announce they'll help Matt with his mission. At the base, Hayes tells his men to lock Amelia up, but he's interrupted by Abraham and his team. Amelia tells them what she saw, so Hayes shares the details. He's trying to reverse the bioweapon to make it kill aliens. Since it'll attack DNA, it won't distinguish between good and bad aliens. Abraham points out that's genocide, but Hayes doesn't care and reminds him that the aliens will find the base soon. Suddenly Hayes' men takes out their weapons and Abraham's team does the same in return, getting them all stuck in a standoff. At that moment Wessex arrives with his own team and Hayes orders them to bring down Abraham's group. However, when Wessex hears about the genocide plan, he tells his men to capture Hayes, which leaves Abraham in charge. Then the alarm starts wailing, announcing the arrival of the aliens. 3 huge ships immediately open fire at the base and destroy its power source. The system goes down and they can't get in contact with the pilots. Suddenly an alien message is played on the speakers. They threaten to destroy the base unless Amelia turns herself in. Her friends don't want her to go, but Amelia thinks it's for the best. Wessex makes his men get in formation outside and Abraham goes with Amelia to meet the aliens. An alien elder speaks to Amelia, saying her race sees her as the leader of humanity. She originally wanted to work together, but now she's learned about the lab experiments and considers Amelia an accomplice, so she tries to stab her. However, Abraham pushes Amelia and gets killed instead. Amelia runs away while Wessex orders his men to open fire, and the aliens immediately shoot back. Soon the area is in flames. Inside, everyone is looking at the screen, so a soldier uses the chance to free Hayes, who grabs a gun and threatens anyone who dares to disobey. When a soldier tries to calm him down, he quickly shoots her. Then he orders his men to get the bioweapon ready. The alien attack makes the whole base shake and Dennis begins evacuating the civilians. In the meantime, Matt's group finally makes it to Pine Gap. They break into the facility and find some abandoned offices. Suddenly they hear a strange noise and follow it upstairs, only to discover a clearly lived area. This is the home of CIA agent Bud and Steve, an alien that speaks English like Gary. When the team asks about rainfall, Bud explains Steve crashed on Earth decades ago and takes them through a secret corridor to reach a restricted room. There they find rainfall, which turns out to be an asteroid found by scientists in the seafloor in 1966. Since alien technology is embedded in it, Bud thinks the aliens sent it to wipe Earth clean millions of years ago. Matt calls the base and Bud shares the explanation with Hayes. If the aliens retrieve the asteroid and throw it again, they'll wipe out humanity like it did with the dinosaurs. Hayes realizes the asteroid is the perfect trap. They can put the bioweapon inside and let the aliens take it. Hearing about the bioweapon makes Gary furious and starts destroying the computer, ending the call. Matt pushes Gary away from the desk and he lands on the asteroid, which suddenly activates with a bright light and sends its location to the alien elder. Steve says only the colleague could do this, meaning Gary is one. Matt gets ready to shoot him, but Marcus comes to his defense. Peter convinces Matt that Gary is on their side and that genocide is a terrible idea, so they'll blow up the asteroid instead. Suddenly the power goes out and a few aliens burst into the room through the vents and elevator shaft. A fight ensues with the humans opening fire and Gary fighting them with his sword, slashing them to death with his colleague's skills. Peter shoots at a bunch of gas canisters, creating an explosion that brings multiple enemies down. No matter how many they kill, more aliens keep coming, so the team decides to run and prioritize destroying the asteroid. When they take the corridor they find more aliens blocking it, but the Voxes tackle them to the ground and start eating them. Back to the base, Wessex's men are barely hanging in there, but they refuse to give up and keep fighting to the very end. The jets go out and start bringing down alien aircraft with normal fire, but they also have missiles with the bioweapon waiting for the right moment. Amelia makes her way inside and teams up with Dennis to scare off the comms officer. Dennis changes the frequency to contact Robin and Amelia tells her about the experiments and the genocide. Unfortunately, the message is played all over the base and Hayes also contacts Robin to remind her of his orders. Robin decides to pull back and tells her fellow pilots to do the same, but a soldier loyal to Hayes goes ahead and fires a missile at one of the huge alien ships. The explosion causes the ship to fall as the gas starts spreading, killing many aliens outside. Wessex and his men run back inside and open fire on Hayes and his soldiers to retake control of the base. However, Hayes escapes through a back door and leaves his men to fight. He makes it to the underground lab, where he learns the gas will take a while before reaching the cells. In the comms room, Amelia and Dennis have been found by soldiers and are stuck in a gunfight. Dennis volunteers to stay as a distraction and Amelia runs to the labs too, where she quickly knocks out a scientist. Then she confronts Hayes, who starts beating her up. Amelia hits him with a gas tank and tries to reach the console, only for Hayes to start choking her. She's still close enough to the buttons to press 1, releasing the gas into the tent. She runs out of it and locks the door, leaving Hayes to die by suffocation. Wessex then announces on the speakers that Hayes is dead and he's the new leader, so the soldiers attacking Dennis stop the fire. At Pine Gap, Matt, Marcus, Bella, and Gary reach the corridor outside the asteroid room with more aliens closely follow them. Before they can fight, the alien ship uses a special beam to break down the facility and make the room with the asteroid fly up. The corridor with the team is slowly splitting in two and Gary is stuck in the falling half with the enemy. Most of the aliens fall to their deaths, leaving only Gary and an opponent hanging on to some cables. Bella cuts some of those cables with her knife to make the last enemy fall too. When the corridor finishes breaking, Matt runs to grab Gary's hand and saves him at the last second, calling him brother. The alien ship absorbs the room and flies away while Peter, Bud, and Steve watch helplessly from the ground. At the base, Amelia releases the aliens from their cells so they can be evacuated with the humans, although a few are still killed by the gas. As the trucks leave with the civilians and some guards, soldiers and pilots stay back to keep the enemy fire on them. The base is destroyed and Robin dies with the other pilots. Sometime later, all the survivors arrive at the mountain village. Peter also returns and gives Amelia the bad news, so now they must make a plan to save their friends.